Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Next Generation Spotlight. I'm honoured today to be joined here by Cameron Brodeur. Cameron is an actor and dancer from right here in Montreal, Canada. He grew up performing at his family's dance school and at the age of 10 ventured into the world of acting on camera. Since then, Cameron has appeared in various projects, some of which were featured on Netflix and Apple TV, as well as on the big screen, from The Umbrella Academy, Helix and Midway. Welcome, Cameron.
Thank you for having me.
So I think we'll start right into the background of it.
Yes.
Dancing, acting, how do we get to where we are today?
Definitely started with the dancing. I grew up in a dance school family. My family owns a dance school, and so I was always surrounded by performing. And I started musical theater and b-boy, and that was just something that was a big passion of mine growing up. I was meant to be a sports kid. My dad is a very big athlete, and so all of my stuff as a baby was sports, themed, and then turns out that I was more of the dancer, which is my mom's thing. So I grew up around dancers and, being on stage and stuff like that. So that definitely helped me get my start. But when it really started for me in terms of acting was, I was around 10, like you said, when I saw my friend in a commercial on TV for IGA. And I asked my mom, I was like, how does she do that? That's so cool. Growing up as a kid who loved movies, I was like, I want to be able to do that. So I asked her, and she said, oh, she's an actress. She auditioned for that. And so from there, I just, started taking acting classes, both in school and outside of school, and started meeting with local agents, and finally found Glenn Talent, who I'm still with today. Fantastic agency. And from there, that's just how it started. Started through dance, and I still dance to this day.
So starting that at the age of 10, you're so young.
Yeah.
Did you have a grasp or understanding of what you were getting yourself into?
No, not at all. I was just like, oh, that's what I watch on TV. That's what I grew up watching. That's awesome. I want to do that. And I just get to be characters that, I love. And so I didn't understand that at first. And that was a big thing for me. Was I was lucky enough to learn that while growing up, learn about it while I was experiencing different shows and different projects. So yeah, it was definitely just a learn as you go type of situation. So yeah, I definitely did not know at the time, but yeah.
And what then were maybe some of the biggest challenges you experienced from the very start, like at the beginning? What was the hardest thing being a 10-year-old kid, doing all of this amazing stuff that at 10 you don't really do?
Well, so the hardest thing actually for me was when I was about 12, I landed a show called Helix, and that was a phenomenal experience, but that was very stressful. I had pretty big anxiety attacks when I was a kid. I suffered from a lot of panic attacks just randomly. And so when I got into acting and I started on the show, I started getting them a little bit more frequently. Not due to the show, just because I wasn't quite ready. I was kind of overwhelmed. The reason why was because in the show, I had to have prosthetics and special effects makeup, which I had never ever been around. I had never experienced before, and it was amazing special effects. But as a little 12-year-old, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how long that was going to take. I wasn't mentally prepared for that. So it was something that really stressed me out at the beginning. But after the first couple times, I was fine. It's just that I had the mentality as a kid where if something scared me, I shut down, and then I had a panic attack. So when I actually first tried out the special effects makeup, I went to the studio, and this was before any of the filming started. They, the talented makeup artists, got me all set up in my, in my prosthetics with, it was little bits of, what was it? It was frosted flakes all over my face to make it look like the skin was kind of peeling and flaking. Ugh. It was gross, but it was really well done. But then after they'd finished that, I went to the bathroom to go look at it, and immediately I was like, uh-oh, that doesn't look like me. I'm scared, and then I had a huge panic attack there. Oh. And my mom was the best. She helps me through everything, and especially growing up, she was like my rock for that. And she kept me grounded. She reminded me that this is all makeup. And I was so nervous and so scared that I almost quit. And she, kept me in reality. And she was like, hey, this is what you want to do. This is, it's not hurting you. It might be scary because you've never seen it before, but you're fine, and this is what you want to do. So, I pushed through that initial scare, and thankfully I did, and yeah, since then that was my biggest challenge, I think, starting out, was that. Yeah.
So how old are you now?
22.
22. So it's been over 10 years that you're sort of doing this acting in the industry. What in this past 10 years have you learnt the most? Like, it's a short amount of time in your life, but it's a big amount of time to be in the industry. So as a 22-year-old now, where are you at?
Just open to everything. I grew up, like I said, with like anxiety and stuff, so that made me sort of a little bit prone to being closed off when it came to new experiences and things that I wasn't comfortable with. So growing up as an actor and having the opportunity to experience different things, I've learned to become more open. And one of the major things was singing, which was something that my mom was always like, oh, you should be a triple threat. You know, you can act and dance, but you should sing too. Because my favorite actor is, well, one of my favorites is Hugh Jackman. So, you know, he's an actor, singer, dancer. And so I was always a big fan of him, and he was a triple threat. So I was always nervous about singing. It just wasn't my thing. I had never had training. I had a couple, you know, classes here and there, but nothing consistent. So when I had auditions, often I would hesitate because I was really nervous about singing. I had no confidence in myself. It was something that I wasn't used to, which was a pattern for me. And actually, when I moved to LA this past 2 years, I surrounded myself with people who loved singing, and it was their major. And so doing that and opening myself up to that, I ended up loving it, and it's now something that I'm comfortable with. You know, singing in front of an audience. We used to go to karaoke bars all the time, and that was something that was a lot of fun and actually helped me loosen up. So yeah, I think just being open and not afraid to try new things and go outside of your comfort zone. It sounds cliche, but that's what you need to do in this business, you know, because there's so many different experiences you can have, and you know, they require different things. So I think just being open to anything is really a good skill to have.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
What's my go-to karaoke song? Oh man. Okay, so it was big. It was all the Hamilton songs. That was our
Staying
our
on
thing.
theme then.
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah. Hamilton, and then what did we like? Oh yeah, Dear Evan Hansen. So I liked Only Us. That was a good one. And Waving Through a Window. That was another big one. The guys, we would belt that. Obviously, it didn't sound great, but it was fun to do for sure.
Yeah. So then, in these initial experiences that you've had in the industry, what are some of the most memorable moments that you've had?
Yeah, so a lot. I've been really, really, you know, lucky to have had really nice experiences. I think, well, my first initial one was Helix, because that was the first kind of major set that I was on. And I was working with some great actors like Billy Campbell and Matt Long, and who were awesome to me. I was the only kid on set, so I was surrounded by just a bunch of adult actors who knew what they were doing. They were professional, you know, they were on the ball, and I was kind of lost. I didn't really know what to do. And so I was with my mom, which was great, but they would often come up to me and talk to me and take time to come and chat with me. And, you know, and if I had questions, they would answer, and they were super, super sweet to me. So that's like engraved in my mind of like, you know, no matter who you are as an actor, where you are, there's always someone who's starting out, and it's comforting to be there for them. So that was something that I really took in, and I was like, man, that was a really great experience. You know, as a kid, you don't really realize it, but looking back on it now, they didn't have to do that, but they were just so nice that they did. And so, you know, if I can help someone in the same manner that I was helped, I'd love to do that. So that was a big one for me, Helix. And I mean, the Umbrella Academy was just like, that was it. That was, for me, growing up as a kid who was a huge superhero fan. My parents know that I spent every waking hour in a costume, and when I had the chance at home. So I was, you know, always Spider-Man, Superman, or Batman around my house. But having the opportunity to actually be a superhero was something that I wasn't ready for, and I just loved it. It was such a good experience, and I got to meet wonderful people. So
you know, it's crazy. When I met you, and you said you were in the Umbrella Academy, I was too shy to be like, I binge watched it. Like, I was so obsessed with the show, and I was like, that's so crazy.
Oh, it was
like,
such a
what
fun show.
An insane experience, and also just in general, like, you know, you're 22, you're technically starting out, and you've already done so much. What do you want to do next? Like, you know, you've done so much. What is the sort of step from here? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do?
I mean, look, I'm a huge, huge fan of The Office. and like comedy shows, like sitcoms and stuff like that, and mockumentaries. So I think my biggest thing right now is I'd love to be in a comedy show, just because it's so much fun. I mean, I spend a lot of my time, like my girlfriend does too. We watch bloopers of The Office and Friends and all that. So it just looks like such a fun environment that a comedy would be just a blast to work on. But I'd also love to do like a really good character role, one that takes a lot of research and a lot of time to sort of understand. And so, yeah, I'd love to do honestly very polar opposite roles, but I'd like to, experience both of those at any point. So yeah, I'd say that would be the next thing for me is I'd love to do one of those things. Yeah.
And what would you say, someone who's in your position, whether they're 10 years old, whether they're 22, your age, what is the biggest advice you could give to a 10-year-old and someone who's 22 starting out in their careers?
Learn as much as you can from as many people as you can. Workshops are so vital, and they're so great. It's like a perfect opportunity to learn and also get yourself out there. I mean, I grew up taking a lot of workshops. I was in school in a theater program, but I was also taking theater outside of school at a local theater group that doesn't exist anymore, but it was great, Teen Tour Theater, and in NDG. And there were a bunch of workshops there. Casting directors also hold workshops there, which I think is key because you're not only practicing your art form, you're also getting in front of the people who are going to be casting you. So you get to sort of show them that you have good work ethic, that you take direction, that you put in the effort, So I think that was essential for me growing up, was just taking as many classes as I could because I was learning from different people who were in the industry, who I may work with one day, and who had like valuable and great experiences that I could learn from. So take as many classes as you can. I know Actor and UDA offer workshops often. In schools and theater schools like mine had offered many workshops. So I think just, I always say this, but fill your actor's utility belt is the best way I could say it from the nerd standpoint because you can never learn too much, So I would say that would be the most important thing is learn from as many people as you can. Yeah.
So you talk a little bit about the acting workshops.
Yeah.
How key then do you think it is for a young person starting out to network, to make connections?
It is important. Actually, that goes with the workshopping because you are networking. You're going there, you're meeting other people who you may know or who you may not know, who, again, you might work with in the future. So I think that's a great way to network, but networking itself is super important. You always want to be professional because, again, you never know who anyone is. It's nice to surround yourself with people who have the same passions as you. It definitely helps to just stay involved in the world of your art form because it just keeps you in. You don't lose it. So I think that's super important to network because it's a valuable asset to have. I would say, yeah.
So you mentioned back that Hugh Jackman is someone you look up to.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't ask you who you look up to, but if you could have played a role in any film or TV show that's been made now, what would you have liked to have been part of?
Spider-Man.
Really?
Yes. Ever since I was a little kid, that has not changed.
Okay. Which Spider-Man though?
Is this who's your favorite Spider-Man?
Yeah, because I will judge you.
Okay, I'm taking the easy way out. I think Tobey's my favorite Peter Parker. Andrew is my favorite Spider-Man, and Tom Holland is a good mix of the both.
Yeah.
I think
Tom Holland's just like,
yeah.
He's like an everything threat. He's so good.
No, they're all great.
Yeah.
They were all my Spider-Man growing up and everyone else's Spider-Man. They different phases of our lives, right? But it was actually, that's funny you said that because I was rewatching Spider-Man 2 and 3, Tobey Maguire yesterday. I cry every time. They're so good. But yeah, I would say Spider-Man was my big thing, and I don't think that'll change. That'll always be there, just because the character itself had such an impact on me and still does. I'm a huge comic book nerd fan, so I still read Spider-Man comics. So yeah, I think that would be that's my thing.
And last thing I want to ask you, 10 years time, you're 32, still very young. Where do you see yourself, or what are you projecting for?
Yeah, I would love to be in New York. I was in New York for a year for school, and I absolutely loved it. It was the best. I'd love to be in New York with my girlfriend, acting, doing theater on the side, because I still love theater. That was a big part of my childhood, and it's something that I would love to keep doing. Just doing what I love in a city that I love with a person that I love. It's just, that to me that's all I need. I'm good. I don't need a big house or anything like that. Just a nice apartment near Central Park, and I'm good. I'll go take walks, and nothing too fancy. Just continuing what I love, I think, is the bottom line. So.
All right, 10 years time, New York. You heard it
Time's
here first.
ticking, yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
This was Next Generation Spotlight with Spider-Man 4.0. Amazing.